Hello, everyone. Welcome to ITMO, Instant Transformation Moment. Here's where we get together live with everyone from around the world to experience our spiritual intelligence together. And we use the 3Q method for this, very rapid technique, which gets you into the spiritual intelligence zone in a second or less. So it's a very rapid method which you can use in any situation. And we're going to go through that method shortly today with everyone, and we can all do it together. But before we get into the 3Q method, I just want to share with everyone some explanation about the ego and the soul. How to explain the ego and the soul. And to do that, I want to share a post with you which goes into the details. Now, I think I can find it here somewhere. That might be it. No, that's not it. I wonder where it's gone. I'll try this one. Nope, that's not it. Let me try again. Okay, I'm going to have to do a little search for this. Let me just get out of that. Yeah, it seems to be there. Just finding a bit of difficulty bringing it up on the screen for some reason. Okay, I'm going to have to bring it up again and connect to it again. Right. Okay, so I'm going to try again now to connect to this post. Yeah, here we are. Right, I think we've got it now. Ego and soul. So I'm going to read from this and then comment as we go. Just as a computer and a phone have an operating system, so does our own awareness. The twin poles of attention represent the basic operating system of human awareness. The twin poles of attention are the subject pole and the object pole. At the object pole is everything we are aware of, including thoughts, emotions, beliefs, perceptions, memories, hopes, ideas, self-image, you name it. And at the subject pole of attention is feeling awareness itself or consciousness itself. So the ego and the soul are located at opposite poles of attention. The ego is identified with the object pole of attention, states of body and mind, and the soul is identified with the subject pole of attention, which is feeling awareness itself or consciousness itself. And this is the diagram here which illustrates what I've just said in words, the twin poles of attention. So that's the basic human operating system. The ego is your body-mind self, or your false self. The ego is founded on identification with your body and mind at the object pole of attention. The ego exercises IQ and EQ, but has no access to SQ. So IQ and EQ are intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence, and SQ is spiritual intelligence, as you can see in this diagram. The soul is your existential self, or your true self. The soul is founded on identification with consciousness itself at the subject pole of attention. The soul exercises IQ and EQ with SQ. Qualities of the ego. Being the ego means experiencing yourself as being your body and mind. The ego feels dissatisfied and insufficient and constantly seeks satisfaction elsewhere in the next experience, using this moment as a means to the next and reacting to each moment from a state of lack. Qualities of the soul. Being the soul means experiencing yourself as being consciousness itself. The native qualities of consciousness itself are experienced at the subject pole of attention in moments of presence, in the form of wisdom, compassion, integrity, joy, love, creativity, and peace. Consequently, the soul does not seek satisfaction elsewhere in the next experience, because the soul is already happy and therefore does not use this moment as a means to the next. Instead of reacting from a state of lack, the soul therefore responds in each moment from a state of prior fulfillment. Different purposes. The ego and the soul use IQ and EQ for different purposes. The ego uses IQ and EQ for personal gain, in the constant search for compensation for the inevitable dissatisfaction of being the ego. But the intelligence of the soul has a different purpose. SQ uses IQ and EQ for the benefit of all, to express the native qualities of feeling awareness itself, which are experienced at the subject pole of attention in moments of presence, in the form of wisdom, compassion, integrity, joy, love, creativity, and peace. From ego to soul, the essence of spiritual intelligence is the shift from the false self to the true self, from ego to soul, at the opposite pole of attention. The SQ portal is a simple three-step process that rapidly shifts from ego to soul and thus activates spiritual intelligence. So that's what we're going to exercise now, the SQ portal, or otherwise called the 3Q portal, because it uses all three dimensions, IQ, EQ, and SQ. So let's have a look now at the method we use, the 3Q portal method, to exercise spiritual intelligence, to experience spiritual intelligence and activate it. So this symbol here represents the three dimensions of intelligence: IQ, EQ, and SQ. And the symbol opens out into those twin poles of attention we were talking about. So we have the object pole of attention and the subject pole of attention. At the object poles, everything you're aware of, all states of body and mind, and at the subject pole of attention is awareness itself. And let me just show you a different slide, which will give you which will build on this one. Just add another element to it. So this slide's the same as the last one with the addition of these two words, ego and soul. So the ego identifies with states of body and mind at the object pole of attention. And the soul identifies with consciousness itself at the subject pole of attention. And of course, the soul at the subject pole is aware of what's at the object pole. Now, the connecting link is the mechanism of attention. So to get from ego to soul and to activate our spiritual intelligence, we have to go through this mechanism. And the fastest way through this mechanism is the following 3 steps: notice, feel, and be. So in a moment, we're going to use each of these steps so that you know exactly what to do to shift from ego to soul, from false self to true self, and activate your spiritual intelligence. So step 1 is notice. So notice what? Well, it simply means to notice that your attention has 2 poles. You have the object pole, everything you're aware of, and you have the subject pole, awareness itself. And the reason we have to notice that is that we so often forget, don't we? We identify with our thoughts and emotions very frequently, and we forget that I'm the one aware of my thoughts and emotions. So step 1 is just reminding us. Step 2 is feel, and here's where we get to feel what it's like as consciousness itself at the subject pole. And to do step 2, we use a breathing technique. So bring your attention to your breathing now. Just notice at the end of the in-breath, there's a slight pause when you're neither breathing in or breathing out. Just find that pause now. Did you find that pause? Slight pause when the breathing pauses at the end of the in-breath. It's important not to hold your breath. It's a natural part of the breathing cycle. Just find that natural pause. Did you find that natural pause? Okay. So each time you come to that pause, just notice it. And also notice what happens to your thinking mind in that pause. So what happens to your thinking mind in that pause of in the breathing? When the breathing pause is at the end of the in-breath, momentarily, before you start to breathe out, what happens to the thinking process? Did you notice? The thinking pauses as well, doesn't it? When the breathing pauses for a moment, the thinking pauses for a moment. Just observe that. It's true, isn't it? And now observe how you feel. Feel how you feel in that still point at the end of the in-breath when the breathing pauses and the thinking pauses. How do you feel? Feels peaceful, doesn't it? In that still point at the end of the in-breath, when the breathing pauses and the thinking pauses for a moment, it's a peaceful feeling there, isn't there? Check it out yourself. Did you find that peaceful feeling? Okay, now step 3 is be, which means be that peaceful feeling. So we're going to move on from step 2 to step 3. So let's get back to step 2 to find that peaceful feeling, and then I'll move us on to step 3. So notice that still point at the end of the in-breath, when the breathing pauses and the thinking pauses, and you feel that peace. Just find that peaceful feeling. And while you're feeling that peaceful feeling, move on to step 3. Be that peaceful feeling, which means allow that peaceful feeling to go all over your body and mind. So take a look around now. Just notice you are now being consciousness itself. Everything you're aware of is just an object within consciousness itself. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, these are just objects within your consciousness. You are the consciousness aware of these things. So that's the be stage. You're simply being consciousness itself. So this is called using your spiritual intelligence. And you get there by using these 3 steps: notice, feel, and be. See, it's very simple when you've learned how to do this. It may take a bit of practice. So I do urge you to practice these steps during the day: notice, feel, and be, so that you get to the point of being absolutely at ease with doing these steps, and so you can do them really quickly. You'll find once you're familiar with them, you can do them in less than a second, literally. And when you get practiced with this, you can activate your spiritual intelligence in any circumstances. You don't need to sit down in a quiet room with your eyes closed like traditional forms of meditation. This form of meditation works in any circumstances, in any situation, and it can be combined with any other activity. So just experiment with it for yourself during the day and confirm for yourself it really does work. So you'll find above this video links to other videos which go into more detail. You'll also find a link to the post on the ego and the soul. So I hope you'll join us next week when we practice spiritual intelligence together. It's every Wednesday at 12 noon GMT +1. So I hope you'll join us then for another live session of ITMO, Instant Transformation Moment. So goodbye from me for now.